Hi everybody, I am Shanth Enjeti and welcome to Shanth Enjeti Art. I'm going to be doing some painting today. What a week it has been. We don't need to get into all of that, but I've been keeping tabs on the entertainment industry, been keeping tabs on what's going on in comics, a lot of cool stuff happening, and I am working on a page of my upcoming comic called Nosfero, which is a cool vampire werewolf, sort of horror, sort of fantasy book, and I hope everybody is having a great Saturday. So here we go. So I've got this page positioned and saved these lines just for you to see. So here we go. And I don't know how long this stream is going to be, but it's going to be me inking these lines right here. There we go. Hey, the choice voice is here. The big man is in the house. Michael, we have to get together and talk about He-Man and Star Wars and pop culture soon, my friend. Oh my lord. What a week. My goodness. You must have heard me in your head. Oh my lord. Oh, thank you so much, boss. I appreciate it. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm well into these pages. My glasses are helping a ton. I don't know what I ever did without them. But I was actually just singing your praises the other day to a friend of mine who works in special effects and has done some directing and done some live action and animation work, and was telling him he's a fellow Star Trek fan and a fellow he loves Galaxy Quest, science fiction, all of that kind of stuff, and he just had a movie that he worked on that was released starring Chris Pratt. It's called The Tomorrow War, I think it is. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks to Walgreens. My Walgreens style is what it's all about. But yeah, I was just emailing a client that, well, not really a client. I was emailing a comic book artist who I did, or a writer, I should say, who I did some work for an anthology for a book called Graveyard Shift. And I asked them if it was too late in the deadline for me to rework the piece that I did before I got these glasses, because I just couldn't bear to look at it. And it was really funny because it was perfect. I just found out that they had an extension on the deadline, and so I was able to go back and rework it, and it looks great. Oh yeah, I mean, it's so funny, right? It's you and I are probably about the same with critics at this point, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think Chris Pratt is always pretty good in things. And I know it's actually, I think my friend was telling me about that a lot of the, I think sometimes it's really hard when you work on something. I mean, you know this. That's funny. I was actually telling him how sometimes it's hard not to screen for the negative comments and the negative reviews. And, I think he does such amazing work, and he's such a generous guy, and I think sometimes it's one of those things. It's hard not to take that stuff to heart, and but I'm looking forward to seeing it, because he's just a really amazing talent and a really good dude. I think so too. A lot of people have said that. I mean, to be honest, I think in a lot of ways he's his he's kind of, it's funny, for a long time, I think when The Rock came on the scene, a lot of people were trying to figure out how to make him Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I think people had to come to that place that we all see as obvious right now, which is he is The Rock. He's Dwayne Johnson. He's his own thing. And I think that, interestingly enough, when I was watching Chris Pratt when he was on TV, I never would have seen... It's almost like watching Tom Hanks' television career and then going to Saving Private Ryan or going to some of the films he did later on. That's the shift, I think, that's happened with Chris Pratt. Like, it's wild. We're seeing kind of, these iconic actors, that are walking the earth right now. I just hope that, I hope he just keeps doing interesting stuff, I have not seen the movie yet. I've got to check it out too because I love to see the stuff my friend does. He's again just a terrific guy. He's worked on the Lego Movie. He's worked on Tron. He's just done. I mean, Into the Spider-Verse is another one, and just a terrific guy. Terrific guy. Oh, thank you. It's these glasses. I'm telling you, these glasses have made so I breathe differently. The times I've had, and usually it's from late at night, where I've had eye strain from driving, a couple hours at night. It is so exhausting, and I really think that I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. So I'm actually breathing differently when I work now, and that's the craziest part about this. Is I'm not as stressed or not as tense as I was before. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, it's these lines I'm doing, I'm not looking as hard as I was when I couldn't see, if that makes sense. It's just a weird thing. You almost relax more because when you're not looking, it's on purpose. But it's if you watch me ink, much like when we were talking about art, I only move my hand in one motion and I turn the page to get to the rest of the stuff I need. So I've got this really great spot in this painting that I can kind of do that with. Right in there. There we go. But yeah, I'm really excited with where this book is going. It's coming along. And I've come up with a couple of new characters, done some sketches. I mean, they were always going to be in there. I had placeholders for it. And just coming up with them, it all kind of unfolds really nicely. My particular process, anyway. Oh, boy. Like how, what do you mean? Like, hold on a second. 1% scale with 100% highest. How? Oh, boy. Let me see. I would say that depends. That depends on which parts you're including. If you mean in terms of physical pages, then I would say I am, let me just divide it out. I'm a third of the way. I'm a third of the way done. And I plan on being, in the next, let me just say, in the next month, my hope is to be more than 50% of the way done to 60% of the way done. But it's interesting because a lot of this stuff, the timing on how much work I've gotten done on the comic has been directly tied to my vision problems. So since I started doing this, with the glasses on, my pacing has increased tremendously. So I guess the best way I could put it is, you'll see, let me see if I can make this happen here. There are little things like the design of this book that's being used to cast spells, and the revision where I've got focus on this creature. Oh, seriously, I absolutely will. That's great feedback. That's really great feedback. Because I think that's what I'm going to do. Like when I'm working on the double page spread, and I'm just realizing it's probably easier for me to show it to you from back here. Let's see if my dyslexia can get around this. So this one is more or less done. I've been working on it for a while. I'll give you now a close-up. And little things like the hatching that I'm doing right there on those lines, that detail. This is both a double page spread of the comic, but it's also a poster, a future poster or print. So I'm actually working into this project. This is how it would be anyway. Things are always falling down, but I'm working into this project pages that also can work as prints, and I've got a really cool one coming up that I'm excited about. It's almost like a Frank Frazetta piece where there's this big vampire Cthulhu sort of creature that's sitting in a throne, and the vampire priestess is like, saying this is what's happened. Yes, we are. We absolutely are here, my friend. We absolutely, and she's based off of or inspired by Madeline Smith, whom was in your review of The Vampire Lovers. So yeah, so you should know. I mean, everything in this world is an odd mixture of what I love of Guillermo del Toro and what I love about the Hammer horror films, and it's just good eye. Yeah, I love painting people from that period, and it's all your fault, Michael. It's all on you, because you introduced me to this amazing world of Hammer horror. I don't know where I would be without it. I was missing it in my life. I think some of the most fun fans in the world are Hammer horror fans and I'm sorry, let me say that again. Are horror fans, and and interestingly enough, that crew that I've been meeting more people are some of the most welcoming, in my experience anyway, and cool people. They're very passionate about the stuff they like, and I've always loved horror and werewolves and Halloween and all that stuff, but I guess it never dawned on me, and it's probably because of YouTube, right, that there were I don't really go to a lot of conventions. I'm pretty much one of those people who sits at my desk and works, so YouTube's given me the chance to get to meet them and get to know them in a way that I would probably have felt too, I don't know, nerve-wracked to do at a convention. Just go to like a horror convention and just walk around and say hi to people. I kind of get to do that online, and it's quite fun. Works for me as an introvert. See if that's working here. There we go. Whoops. I always forget that there's different things I can do with this camera. Let's see if that holds. There we go. I'm going to move that over there a little bit so it's out of the way. And we can do some more. Well, you know what's interesting? Thank you. I appreciate that, Michael. I really do. I'm going to have to send you some original artwork. That's how that's going to have to go. And I really appreciate that. So the trick for me is one, is getting reference, but the other aspect of it is the way that I use this paint. I can just do a wash right over the top of it, and it will knock things back, and then I can just pull out the highlights. So I'm actually, in a lot of ways, I am painting the figure, and then I'm putting the gown on top of it so that the lighting impact on the skin is there, and it's actually being kind of moved back with the paint I'm putting over it. So in a lot of ways, even though it's a thin layer of paint, it is three-dimensional in that sense. There's something that's behind what I'm doing, and it's an easier way to work. But I started doing it when I did that story that's in book 2. And I had the character in the gown, and I really wanted to teach myself how to do it because I was looking at Hammer horror films. And it's so crazy. I love doing it. And I tell you what, there's something I used to look at, and I still do. I still get excited about looking at different artists and looking at the different work that people do. But the thing that I keep coming back around to is that how do we word this? When someone introduces you to a new subject, a new movie, a new sphere of interest, it always has more impact than seeing a new style in a new artist. And I've been looking at a lot of people who are, just incredible when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. So how's your Saturday going, Michael? What have you been up to? Oh, that's a really good... Someone was asking me that just the other day. The hardest thing about making art now... That's a really good question. I would say this, just... No, oh yeah, I totally... I knew what you meant. I would say get de-intellectualizing the process and just making stuff. That's the biggest thing. And what I mean by that is I don't try to... The stuff I'm doing now, I really care about it. I'm very passionate about it. But I don't try to predict what it is. I try to... or what it's going to be. I try to make stuff, put it out there, and see what the audience is going to think of it. And I used to look at things from the standpoint of... Let's get this necklace in the wrong place. I used to look at things from the standpoint of, when I was in college, of come up with your one great idea and then put it out there and see where it goes. And now I'm like, I just have an idea. I'll put it out there and see what the audience thinks. Isn't that funny? I mean, it's... I appreciate that, but you know what's sort of funny is that I know that you know from making your films, I look at it and I do not see any of the things that were going on, and I really appreciate that. I will say this, it's a lot easier to make artwork and to do any job when I'm not wrestling with myself. And that's the biggest thing, you know, and I think I spent a lot of time overthinking my artwork and overthinking my process and trying to intellectualize it. And I think that intellectualizing things and trying to think about the huge impact that you want to have on everyone and how you want to make them think is a lot of ways the death of art, as opposed to just making stuff and being somewhat thoughtful about it. And it's about not being overly, what's the word I'm looking for? Not being overly analytical, and frankly trying not to be, think I'm too, get too big of a head about it. Oh, that's interesting. I will say this. The biggest problem that I think artists run into when they have I think I heard, it's not his quote, but I remember hearing Matthew McConaughey say that at a commencement address, in his McConaughey way, he said, too many choices will make tyrants of us all. And I think that is the biggest thing that artists run into when they're working, is having so many choices of what they could do that they can't get started. And in my case, I think it's the sense I tell myself, I have to make a comic book for this project. I have to make something that is really interesting, really good, and it matters to me if my audience responds to it, and if the audience that I am doing this book for, if it's something they would be interested in. But I was telling my studio mate the other day, I sit down and I just say, make something really cool. And that's such a weird thing to think about, but I guess I kind of know what it means. Like when I see something that's aesthetically, interesting or challenging, or not even challenging, I don't like that word. When I watch the Hammer horror films and I look at the set design, it's just cool. I don't know how, I'm sure some of it's accurate, but there's a crest right here, and there's a throne in the middle of this room, and that's that thing that is a little bit idiosyncratic, but it's the idiosyncrasies that make it really interesting. And so I have to work fast enough and physical enough to where I don't get into that mode of not playing anymore and not thinking, or I should say, and not doing. So I try to make work so fast I don't have time to overthink it and kill it. That's the real trick for me. And because this process is slow, the chance of that happening is much higher. The chance of something accidentally cool happening is much lower because we have so much control. And the more control that we get, it's not about being reckless, it's about creating a situation where happenstance can still happen. And so, yeah, that's why I don't do like detailed pencils. And that's why these lines seem fluid. It's because they're physical at this point. I'm just kind of feeling it. There we go. There we go. It's starting to come together. So we'll do a little bit of a, I don't want to say a bird's eye view, but we'll zoom out a bit and take a look and see what we're dealing with here in the grand arc of things. So this right here is where this creature is. And then it's going to be coming through this gateway. And so one of the big things I've been working on this week was trying to get these doors where I have this pattern on it in perspective to all match. I did one door where it wasn't the same way, and it was, which one was it? It was this one right here. I made that door right there the wrong perspective, so I had to change the ground plane. And then this is the original door that I was doing, and this one is, let's see if I can get that to have a little bit more light on it. Yeah, this one right here was the one that I really wrapped up this week and got everybody where they needed to be, got the values correct and everything like that. Painting is interesting. It always takes a little bit longer than other things because you're penciling, you're inking for all intents and purposes, and you're writing, and you're doing all of that at the same time. So to show you, and I think I posted it on Instagram, but I don't know if I have it. See if I have it here. But I started working on, here it is. This is a piece that shows kind of how it all starts. Let me see if I can get that. Boy, that is dark. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, it's probably because I've got it pointed up too much at the light. There we go. So this right here, let's see if I can make that happen. There we go. But that still looks really dark. Oh, I think it's because I have that in shot here. Huh. I have to figure that out. What's going on? There we go. Maybe I just needed my hand in there to make it happen. But this is a piece right here where I'm just sort of starting it. And there's something that is messing with my lights there. Let me move it over more. There we go. So this is something I'm working on right now, and this is how they start. They start where I do some pencils, then I'll do some watercolor washes into it, and then start to build it. But there's one that's just started up there. So there's a panel where I'm just starting to work things out. And yeah, it's a crazy process, but I've been getting faster and faster at it the more I practice. And I've been practicing a lot. So that's been good. It's probably where I'm going to be going too. You know, I mean, there's this sort of muscle memory, physicality to people who are actual artists and do this work on a regular basis that you have to kind of keep up with it a little bit. And I've been splitting myself between a lot of different things for a while, and I'm at that point where I'm trying to figure it out. Yes, I would not ask for a kiss. Absolutely right. Yeah, she's gone full Nosferatu vampire. Yeah, oh my god. I know. And it's funny too, because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now is all stuff I was terrible at in my teens and early 20s. I didn't know how to paint, didn't understand color. I drew a lot of superhero stuff. Let's see if I can get that to happen a little bit better. There we go. I think that's a little better, but I feel like I messed up with the camera. That's what it is. That's why nothing was working. So, yeah, I wasn't very good at female figures. I wasn't very good at color, and so now I'm doing a lot of that stuff, and it's amazing how that works. Let me see if I'm still in frame. There we go. Just like I'm still getting used to and learning about how to do YouTube. I mean, it's such an important, tool for promoting work, and I've been watching some people who are great at it, and I have a long way to go. I do not know how you do it. The thought of frankly creating that much content as you've created and having that many people who tune in to check it out is amazing. And I really have to say I admire it. I am so impressed by it, and the fact that you do everything else you do on top of it is incredible. Here we go. There we go. Oh, well, the paper size I'm using right now is designed to fit 8.5 by 11, which is what all my books are in. So I'm using the comic book for the comic book. Wow, I'm totally, my brain is pudding. I totally can't remember what I was about to say. I'm using the comic book layout and the stylistic, but I'm not painting it to that format. So it's not 10 by 15, although it's kind of close, and it's not like an 11 by 17 tall vertical. It's made to be more like manga and European comics, I guess, in terms of its ratio. But it's, I have to be honest, as when I first started drawing, I was using, first I was using, 11 by 14 paper. I didn't know anything about it because I was 14. But, after that, I quickly learned, how it all worked. I would get the right size paper, and I did that for most of my career when I was working in comics, and even when I was brainstorming ideas. And it wasn't till very recently when I developed my painting style that I realized I need to be working, and I am off frame there. I need to be working how I work, and I can do it any size that works. So this is bigger than actual book size, the books that I've been printing, and so it will detail up really nice. But it is not as big as some comic book pages are, and it's not as small as some manga pages are, I guess is the best way I'd put it. There we go. I love my glasses. This is so much easier. I can't believe how much easier it is to work with glasses. Oh my goodness. I wish I had figured this out sooner. I could have saved myself months of headaches. But I'm so grateful I was able to go back into the piece I'm doing for Mark Poulton and hold on a second here, John Malin's Graveyard Shift. And I did a painting of Lily for their sort of swimsuit book, and submitted it as a fan, just purely as a fan, and I was able to update that and get the detailing right, so that was really cool. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been working like a crazy person. I've been trying to tighten up work, and I've been trying to get this stuff where it needs to be, so I'm ready to launch this book. I won't have the entire book done when I launch because, I want to see if people are actually interested and how interested they are. And then the final page count of everything that's in it will change based on stretch goals and that kind of thing, but it'll be launched before the end of the summer. I just want to make sure I get it exactly where I want it to be so that it's not, there's not, a lot of questions. I feel pretty comfortable. I've shipped and fulfilled 2 books already, but, with a comic, I want to make sure that people get a feel for what it's going to be like, and so there's enough art for that. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with how it's coming out, actually. It feels really good. I'm glad you like seeing me work, because it's a very weird thing. I've talked to other artists, and I've seen other artists talk about that it's a weird thing to do. It's maybe not the flashiest thing to do, but my goal is to get better at talking and painting. As far as I'm concerned, Bob Ross was the master of all that. He could talk and paint and amaze people. And so that's going to be my life goal there for this kind of stuff. So here you can see another example of me just rotating that paper, and I've got it pinned with my fingers because otherwise it'd fall right off the desk. And then I'm just bringing that brush around and just creating that feel. There we go. And then a little more right here. Oh, yeah. Bob Peak was amazing. I've got that book, and it's a little pricey. I lucked out into it. I got a used copy that was sitting out and on sale because it was dinged, and it is a beautiful book. An absolutely beautiful book. And, yeah, Bob Peak is amazing. Bob Peak, of course, as you know, was one of the big inspirations when I was working on the Starship Valiant poster. So if anybody here sees this video, go check out Starship Valiant. I was telling my friend the other day about Starship Valiant and told him to go check it out. You know, I said, we were talking about just entertainment and art, and we were just saying life is too short to not, you know, spend it with people who are passionate, who are, you know, positive and exciting and do cool stuff. And I told him check out Valiant because that's a really good example of what I'm talking about. People who really care about this stuff. I mean, I think about that stuff when I'm working. Oh, Michael, you stop. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, well, I will tell you this. When I launch the book, you will have to have me on your channel because I would love to freaking, you know, promote it on your channel, for heaven's sake. I'd love to talk to your audience about it and get the word out. So if you're up for that, you let me know. And I definitely want to have you on my channel because I just recently upgraded so that I can do interviews on my channel. And I'd love to talk to you about Valiant. And just movies and Star Wars and whatever else you want to talk about. I feel like we should have a pop culture, you know, talk at some point with all of the interesting stuff going on in indies and then all the crazy stuff going on in Hollywood. Could make for an interesting time, an interesting live stream. Oh, Michael, you are too kind. And we have to do another art lesson too, just so we can hang out and talk art and talk shop, because it's just, I love it. It makes me really happy because I love talking about art with you and just kind of geeking out about it. It's fun stuff. You know, it's that's what it's all about, you know. I was telling somebody that the other evening that, you know, when we go to comic conventions and we used to do all that stuff, which I used to do a lot when I was a kid, or go to comic book shops, that's something it's a very kind of, you know, special kind of relationship that you have with the person, you know, at your local comic shop, and particularly back in the day. And, you know, going to see movies, science fiction movies, whatever it is. And in a lot of ways, I think YouTube has become that. You know, YouTube has become one of those places where we get to have those conversations now and talk about stuff. And they're such fabulously nerdy conversations, and that's what makes it so fun. Is I remember the first time I visited Skywalker Ranch. I've been lucky enough to go there twice. A guy who was working there is a huge Iron Man fan, and he asked me, "Oh, really? Like, what's your favorite kind of armor?" And I said, "Oh, the one from the Marvel Superheroes game where." That period in the comics, he had silver and red armor, and you know, a triangle for his oh god, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of it. That's how tired I am. On his chest instead of a circle. And he was so funny. He goes, "You like that Buckethead costume?" And he just went to work on me, but like tongue in cheek. And I laughed and I said, "Oh, I know." And but that's what nerds have always kind of done. You know, it's like we argue over silly things like Iron Man's, you know, armor design and which one is our favorite. You know, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what makes it fun. And it's when people are really knowledgeable about the history of things, and you know, they have those kinds of discussions and debates. It's always fun because the object is not to win. The object is to be able to have those kinds of conversations with people who are similarly passionate. And I think that's something that a lot of people a lot of people don't seem to understand right now, and I think it's probably because they're not, I don't know if it's really a nerd perspective or a fan perspective to have, to say I'm right about this and that's the way it is. Like, we can look at things and a lot of us can agree that they're not good or whatever, but you have to. Back in the day when I was reading comic books, and I was always shocked by this, if someone was writing Iron Man and they got something wrong, the editor, the writer, the artist, they'd all hear about it. It was a normal part of how things worked, and apparently now that's something that is discouraged. It's really weird. Yep. Absolutely. Wednesdays comics. It was such a great thing. My comic book shop owner was a guy named Wade Sane, and that was back in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I just actually reached out to Wade recently, a couple months ago, and said, hey, thanks for selling me comics. Thanks for holding comics for me when they would come in and if they were going to sell out. And those are really cool community things that happen, and that's what I think a lot of us are kind of getting back to. Because I think, as DC and Marvel Entertainment aren't going to be going to San Diego Comic-Con this year, which I don't even know what that's going to be exactly. And it's kind of interesting. We had this period where all of these folks who weren't that into the hobbies came in, and they were interested in the fact that there was money to be made there, and they're all leaving one by one now that the hobbies are in tough shape. And, so maybe it'll return back to the way things were. Yeah, sometimes I do too. But the only things I collect these days are either indie books that are coming out, crowdfunded on Indiegogo, or old stuff that I'm recollecting. So that's the stuff I'm buying, because I just don't. There's not a lot going on right now. I don't buy things just because they're new. Obviously, I don't buy Blu-rays just because they're new. I buy them because they're good, or because there has to be a really big, compelling reason. And I don't see a lot of stuff that is worth me buying right now. I mean, there's some great manga out there, right? There's some great anime, but nah, I don't see. If the X-Men of Chris Claremont and Jim Lee, or the work of gosh, I remember reading Mike Zeck's Punisher limited series. I loved that book. That was the book that got me into a comic book shop. If stuff like that was going on, I would be there in a heartbeat. I mean, I miss the way it felt to collect comics. I just don't. I know why I'm not doing it now, which is, it's just, it's the same reason why I don't see a lot of movies I want to see. I actually enjoyed a lot, because it was just fun. I enjoyed Godzilla versus King Kong, or Kong. I thought that was really fun. And I'm excited to see some of the movies you were mentioning. The one that Anthony Hopkins got the Academy Award for looks really cool. But comics-wise, I don't know. Yep. Yes, they have been, and it's funny. I was a Marvel person myself, as you can probably tell. I've got the Hulk and Spider-Man behind me, but I was always a Marvel person, and I did like DC Comics. I do own DC Comics, but my brother Arvin, out on the West Coast, he's a massive DC Comics fan. Like, he lives and breathes DC, and he's helped me to gain an even deeper appreciation of DC Comics. I mean, he's a hardcore DC fan. I know. Well, do you know what's so funny is? Just imagine doing for your hobby what you do for your job. And I know you know this. You know what I mean? I know you know this. It's like, one of the reasons why I can't imagine doing movies or dedicating my time to doing movies is because it's the one thing, or one of the few things I enjoy doing that I don't associate with work. It's fun to help people on them, but if that was my thing, I don't think I would enjoy watching movies as much. But I do buy comics. But I just buy older comics. I just don't buy the new stuff. I mean, I bought some indie stuff. I've bought some Comicsgate stuff. So I've bought, what's it called? Graveyard Shift, Cyberfrog. I've bought, I love Ethan's art. I think his creativity and everything's amazing. What else have I bought? It's recent. those would be the big two. I know I'm probably... Oh, Kyle Ritter's Starblades. I know I talked about that on a previous stream. So I bought that. If anybody's interested in checking out Kyle Ritter's stuff, he's at Def Colorist, and I think he's Kyle Ritter on YouTube. But I've enjoyed buying that stuff, but it's more indie stuff. I mean, I kind of got into comics, collecting things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and you know, things like Grips and some of those comics. So that's just more where I'm at right now. So I guess I do, but I'm more buying them from the attitude of being somebody who, you know, is also learning from these YouTubers like who are making comics. I watch them and I go, oh, that's right. Like, it's company to follow creators who are actually doing the work right now. And yeah, that's why I'm doing the stuff I'm doing. I crowdfunded my first art book because of all that stuff. But right now it's so much of a, I don't want to say it's so much of a job, but I'm taking the job aspect of it so seriously right now. That's the primary thing I'm getting when I check out comics today, is just going, okay, I got to raise my game here, and I've got to try this. That's the fun part of it. There we go. So yeah, just doing these, and I realize I'm like not letting this be on frame enough here when I'm doing it, but just doing these longer lines is so essential for getting the sweep of your work together. There we go. So let me see what I need to do next. So I want to make sure I don't do a typical sort of knuckleheaded thing I do, which is put my hand down where I've just painted, where there's wet paint. And I'll probably do it anyway, but here you go. So we keep our hand positioned like this, and then what we do is we're going to have that line go like this. There we go. So one move. I know, that's why I'm kind of like, do I want to see that? I bet it's just excruciating, and frankly, I'm having one of those weeks and one of those time periods where I'm like, I don't think I need any more heartbreak this week. I think I'm gonna take it easy. It's just I think everybody is just so exhausted right now, and I love Anthony Hopkins. It's just sometimes you get in. I'm wanting to watch more light stuff, more action-oriented stuff. It does. Yeah, oh, I'm sure it does. I mean, another Anthony Hopkins movie that I love and I've watched is a movie called Shadowlands about... it's a dramatization of C.S. Lewis's life, and it's fantastic. It's such a great movie. It's a little bit gut-wrenching, you know, and it's hard to take, but it's yeah, I mean, I love Anthony Hopkins. He's great in everything, you know. And it's for me, oh God, trying to get comfortable. For me, that's a major factor of you know why how movies affect me is the acting. Whether it's watching Richard Attenborough's Gandhi, or watching David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia, which I consider to be the greatest movie of all time. I've watched it recently. Like whenever I'm in the midst of a life change or something going on, or I'm trying to reacquaint myself with my principles, I watch certain movies, and the movie I watch is Lawrence of Arabia, and it's an incredible movie, just an incredible movie. Yeah, I think your better half and I might have that in common. We absolutely. Oh, I left off another book, which I actually did a video on. I was reading Andy Smith's The First Man book. So his First Man book, Andy Smith worked with Bart Sears, and he did the cover art on my first professional job. And I was a huge Bart Sears fan, got introduced to Andy Smith sort of at the start of his career when they were pitching to me working on the book that I ended up doing for my first job. And the way they pitched it to me was, and the way I pitched doing the book to them was, they said, here's the cover for the book. This is done. These covers are done by Andy Smith and Bart Sears, and this one is by by Andy Smith. And this one, the Javerts cover, was by Bart Sears. And I said, well, first of all, that's what made me want to do the book, was seeing Andy Smith's take on these characters called Threshers with a Z. And so to now see him crowdfunding comics on Indiegogo, I was able to reach out to him and tell him the story of pretty rough story. You can find it on my YouTube channel about First Man and Andy Smith, and you know, it was really cool to be able to, because of this online, you know, world that we live in now, to be able to reach out to Andy and say, hey, your book was a big deal to me when you did the cover for my first published job, and I picked up your book, and have a little bit of a back and forth. And yeah, if you told me, if there's one thing I love about right now, and there's a lot of things I do love about right now, is that if you're skilled and you work hard and you're productive, you can actually put your work out there, get seen, and earn something for it. And there were so many walls when I was in college for getting into comics. That and the industry was being driven into the ground by a lot of bad decisions and by, you know, just some natural economic forces, frankly, that, you know, I could show great work, and it was, you know, I mean, when I say I can show great work, I don't mean, oh, I thought my work was great. Like, I would have editors say, your work is fantastic, I'll give you a job, and nothing would come of it, either my follow through or the fact that people would get laid off, and you know, who knows what the reasoning was. And right now, you know, when you're talking to a huge audience, like on YouTube or on Instagram or anywhere, you put your work out there and you can find an amount of people that will allow you to make your book, and even allow you to make, you know, a living doing your work, which is extraordinary. And yeah, I've never been more excited about doing work, you know, doing comic stuff. I mean, I'm so driven on this project. I think I'm doing some of the best work that I've ever done. And I owe it all to people who've backed my books, backed book 1 and 2, and the people who have built this independent comic book community that's been, you know, supporting creators and sort of bringing out the best in everyone. And I you know, I sincerely hope, and I'm committed to this being the case, that doing this kind of work and the work I'm doing right now is evidence that all of this exciting stuff that's happening is bringing the best work out of me. And I'm committed to doing my best work, and I think I am. So that's the great part about it, you know. Oh, Instagram by far. I mean, and it's tough to know what's really getting attention. I can't believe, frankly, that I have, you know, over almost 500 subscribers on YouTube, but I have 37,000, I think. Or no, is it 37 or 30? Maybe it's 36. I can't remember. That's a really good question. I don't know. But I think I have, let me just see real quick. Oh, that got bright. Oh, sorry, not 37. What am I saying? I have 33.7 thousand followers on Instagram. So I think easily Instagram, but I don't know, and that's great. I've met a lot of really cool people there, and I do love posting on Instagram. That's why I keep up with it. I just hit 1,000 posts on Instagram, so if you want to see 1,000 images of my work going back years, it's there. But I really do think that YouTube might be the place where you make the most sales, where you actually sell and pitch your work. And I think that's why I'm committed to doing it, you know. But, you know, it's funny. I'm I wanted to make sure I streamed today, but I'm starting to fade. I'm starting to pass out because I've been just running since the word go this morning, and I didn't get any sleep last night because I was up late working and doing different stuff. So I'm going to go take off. I might stream again later tonight. So, Michael, if you're around, do feel free to check in. Oh, awesome. Yeah, check it out. Check it out. You'll get a kick out of it. And I will be around later tonight, everybody. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks for checking out this stuff. And I will talk to you guys soon. All right. Take care.